Vikings fans. You are listening to the Purple People podcast. My name is Kyle West. I am accompanied by Adam Carlson,
I'm here.
Kyle Smith.
How now, brown cow?
You guys ready to talk some Vikings football?
It's
Absolutely.
weird because not really. I'm not really feeling it today, but I'm excited. But I think that the winter woes got me down a little bit. So we'll see what we can do today.
Lots of snow, lots of shoveling.
Would gladly trade you. My Christmas was spent with family, and it was 70 degrees and rainy in the North Carolina area. It was not Christmas at all.
Ugh. Got like 8 inches of snow. I've been out shoveling all day long.
We got about 16 over the last couple days.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, it likes to come down. So I believe this is episode number 164 of the Purple People podcast. I guess on this number because I'm never sure.
84.
Yeah, I was just going to say it. 84. There we
84, Adam.
Told you, not feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Episode number 184 of the Purple People podcast. This one's titled The Crook of Eli because Eli Manning was throwing interceptions like they were going out of business. If that saying makes sense, I don't know.
Yes, it does, because he's kind of a terrible quarterback.
Super Bowl winning.
Terrible quarterback. You betcha.
Twice
Super Bowl MVP.
Crazy that he's got more rings than Brett Favre, isn't it?
And his brother.
Yeah.
And Drew Brees. And just a whole list of people. It's so annoying.
Team
Good old
sport.
David Tyree.
Team sport, guys. Team sport.
Quick hits. We got some Bridgestone talk here to talk about.
Free tires. I gotta make that joke
Week
again.
15 of the season, Jerick McKinnon won it for scoring his first career touchdown on a game when we thought Teddy Bridgewater was going to win it, but he won it the week before. So now, for week 16, I thought, okay, maybe they'll do Jerick McKinnon again since he scored 2 touchdowns, broke a nice long one, but they wasted him the week before this week, so they gave it to Harrison Smith. So I'm waiting to see what Harrison Smith does next week. He's going to have like 2 interceptions, 12 tackles, and they won't be able to give him the award because they gave it to him the week before.
I'm telling you, if he has that kind of game, I'm going to be okay with it because we're probably going to win.
No, you don't want a safety tackling that much.
No, not that, but I'll take two INTs and we'll return them. I'll take that for it.
That's a bad sign. So we saw Sunday Night Football between the Vikings and the Giants. We're going to see Sunday Night Football again as the Vikings and Packers were flexed to the night game on Sunday. So we'll get more of that lovely, lovely Collinsworth.
Prime time.
I'm super excited. I like it. This is what we should live for, is seeing our Vikings in prime time in a big game that counts.
Well, the thought that the Vikings can't win a primetime game has gone out the window now because they pretty decisively crushed the Giants.
Yeah, a little bit of a point differential here.
So hopefully that little streak there is broken, but Mike Zimmer still hasn't won at Green Bay, or versus Green Bay at all as a Vikings head coach. So that'll be interesting to see if that can happen.
He can do it. I believe
Speaking of Green Bay, Mike Zimmer has said that there will be no Beat Green Bay t-shirts this week. Thank God. That was such a joke. I don't even know why that happened.
Oh, we got cocky. That's why that happened. And that blew up right in our face.
So bad. So stupid. It's one of the least Mike Zimmer things I've ever seen.
I think we should find a way to blame someone else. It wasn't really Mike Zimmer, right? Maybe it was his son.
It was a test. Everybody was not supposed to go along with that, and they did.
I'm guessing that they all got drunk and were sitting at the bar and said, this might be funny. And then they ended up hiring Tim Tebow and a bunch of other guys later, and we're like, no.
No, that's what I do in Madden. Just to hire a bunch of people. Right.
But yeah, I'm so glad to see no t-shirts with Beat Green Bay this week, although they already own them, so they might wear them. Who knows?
Maybe they burned them.
I would.
You never know.
Although the Purple People podcast version is fun for a fan.
It is. You should go buy it.
Not fun for a head coach or player, though. Not so great there. Pro Bowl happened with the voting, and I don't want to talk about it, so...
I'll take that away from you. The Minnesota Vikings are having a great year. We've already tied our win total from the last time we went to the playoffs at 10. a lot of people are playing outstanding football, and only one lone Viking was voted to the Pro Bowl, Mr. Adrian Peterson. He leads.
Berger?
No Berger, no Harrison Smith, no Anthony Barr, no
No
Eric
Linval
Kendricks.
Joseph.
You
No
can
Zach
name a
Line.
list of people. Zach Line, fantasy points, yes. Adrian got this head nod pretty fairly. If he was going to be the one and only, I guess it would be him. He does lead the league in rushing. He has, I want to say, for the last 6 to 7 weeks, he's been dominating this year. So good bounce back. He had some help. Marshawn Lynch is down. Jamal Charles is down. Le'Veon Bell is down. I'm sure that probably would have changed things, but nonetheless, AP is atop the rushing yards game this year, and he's probably going to take the crown. So for all you guys that me and Mr. Kyle West were talking about the other day, we want Adrian to win the rushing title. He's probably going to do it for you people that care about that.
He's got to beat out the Duggernaut. He wants to be called the Duggernaut now, by the way. He no longer wishes to be referred to as the Muscle Hamster.
I don't know.
That's such a better name.
Sounds like a really bad, like, lucha libre wrestler. Like,
Muscle Hamster or Duggernaut?
both of them, honestly, right?
Oh, so bad. But yeah, the Pro Bowl, I won't be watching it.
All about name recognition. That's the reason why Adrian was the sole Viking that was voted in. We've been winning.
Jeff Saturday didn't get voted in again.
Yeah, totally. That was such a joke.
The Pro Bowl is a joke. We'll learn a lot more about how good this football team was during the 2015 season when the All-Pro team is announced.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the real recognition happens. Pro Bowl is fun, like a little all-star game, but yeah, it's not. It's just not.
Don't matter. We're gonna be in the Super Bowl, so who cares about Pro Bowl, right?
I ain't saying nothing like that. But Adrian Peterson and his wife and kids visited Mary's Place, which is a shelter in Minneapolis. Adrian Peterson bought himself a Santa suit and went as Santa, gave out some gifts to over 420 children, and it was a really nice affair.
Good PR move.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
When you got a guy that's struggling to... Well, he's not really struggling a ton anymore. You don't hear a ton of people outside the Minnesota fan base talking about that anymore. The incident with his son, but...
No, you really don't, and I think we all predicted this would happen. That as soon as
on a national level, it's definitely still there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's a great thing that he did, and I'm sure that it wasn't just a PR move. Like, he's done good charitable work and whatnot before, so I'm sure it was something that he wanted to do for the holidays. Nice way to give back. So that's cool. We like stories like that.
And Adrian isn't the only one doing this. Brian Robinson took a bunch of kids to the store with some Vikings players, let them pick out some stuff. There was another Vikings player. I don't even remember who it is right now. But
I want to say one of the specialists, either Jeff Locke or Blair Walsh.
Yeah, one of the players
I don't remember, though.
just paid for a couple families' items when they were in line at a store. And it's nice to hear the stories about the players coming out, doing these things for people in the community in need, helping out those that are really needing some cheering up during the holiday season. I've been on that side of things. I was one of those kids growing up where, for one Christmas, I got a Clyde Drexler starting lineup figure that was thrown out behind a Kmart because the coin was missing, and my dad took it and gave it to me. We were that poor. So I understand what it's like to grow up and not have everything, or have to be able to appreciate what you can get or what you do have. And the holidays are a hard time for me, partially because of that. But it also taught me a lot about appreciating things, and I hope that these kids in the community are appreciating what these football players are doing.
Very well said, Adam.
It's something I'm kind of passionate about, because I see so many kids these days just talking about, oh, I got this, I didn't get my new laptop, I asked for a 4K TV, and I only got 1080.
2K TV.
It's like, really, kids? Season's about loving people and spending time together. Gifts are cool, sure, but family is better than any gift. Well, maybe not any gift. I'll take a Super Bowl championship over my cousin Wendy. I hope you're not listening to this, cousin Wendy.
Me too. I don't know your cousin Wendy, so I'll definitely take the championship over that. I don't know if you have a cousin Wendy. You could be made.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we struggled a lot growing up. We've gotten each other's faces, but
Can we bring
it's
her?
all good.
Can we bring
we
her on
grew
the
up.
show?
We grew up and we're fine now.
Purple People podcast featuring Adam's cousin Wendy.
I'd have to find her first.
Oh boy, we are off on a tangent.
Absolutely.
The best kind.
But we got another quick hit here, and I don't even want to talk about this one either. So
I'll do it.
Yes.
Everyone's favorite former Minnesota Vikings quarterback, Josh Freeman, signed with the Colts for some reason as a backup. Because that's a thing that you do.
Because their 40-year-old backup / starter, since Andrew Luck went down, he went down too. So they pretty much called 911 and said, I need a quarterback.
And somehow they stumbled upon Josh Freeman.
there's no possible way Josh Freeman was the best option out there.
No, I mean, come on. We've ragged on Ponder, but Ponder is a better option than Josh Freeman.
No possible way.
That's
Honestly,
insane.
I would take Tim Tebow.
Mm-hmm.
And this is we're mentioning him way too much today. But I would take him as quarterback of the Colts over Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Whatever happened to, what was that one guy from Miami, Cleo Lemon? Is he still available somewhere? He's got to be out there, right?
Sure, he's all right.
Yeah. Bring him in.
Charlie Whitehurst will probably do something. I don't know. Is he doing stuff?
Sure.
Last I heard, he was in Tennessee, but I don't know. There's plenty of career backups that'll be happy to take on a job. Game ball donkey. Giants.
I'm ready.
Vikings.
I'm ready
Get
for it.
Started, Mr. Smith.
So I have to put the disclaimer out there. If you guys didn't see this game and you somehow got the update but you didn't watch it, if you are an Apple person and you like to use and spend money on iTunes, buy the full highlights that come out, because this is by far the biggest, excuse my language, I'll give you 2 seconds to pause that for your kids. This is the biggest ass kicking we've given a team in a long time, and it was a lot of fun to watch. And the weird part was, it didn't start out that way. It was kind of dry the first quarter or two, and then the hammer just came down. So there's a lot of action. But I digress. My game ball goes to Mr. Blair Walsh. He was 5 for 5 in field goals. So put that together. 15 of the 49 points came from Blair Walsh. And although he did miss an extra point, he had 5 attempts at extra points, and he got 4 of them. So he was 9 of 10 all total today every time he got to kick and try to score. I'm okay with that. And he made, I believe, 2 50-plus yard field goals. We saw a little reminiscence of the old Blair Walsh, which I like. So hats off to you, buddy. What a game.
You always hate to see a miss, but when the guys kick in at the goal 10 times and he makes 9 of them, you gotta kind of be like, all right.
And if I have to get really technical and be really one of that guy right now with my air quotations, the wind was out that night and it was freezing. So weather did have a little bit of a factor, but Blair was on point the other day and I loved it.
Very nice. Mr. West.
I am torn. I really want to give it to Teddy. We give Teddy so much love, but there's nothing wrong with that. But, we like to kind of mix things up a little bit. So I'm going to go with Jerick McKinnon. He had, on 7 attempts, he had 89 yards with 2 touchdowns. His longest run was a 68-yard touchdown run. He was active in the receiving game as well. He had 2 receptions for 8 yards. And it was just really nice to see Jerick really come into his own for kind of the first time this year. I thought that last season, him and Matt Asiata did a really good job of filling in for Adrian.
Absolutely.
And he's been kind of quiet this year. We haven't really seen much from him. He's been stuffed a lot. And it's really good to see a young player like him kind of start to get his legs underneath him and get going as we enter, a very crucial time as we get towards the postseason. Because, Adrian is getting a little bit older, and if you can have another younger back, that you can rely on a little bit to maybe take some of the carries away from Adrian to where you can save AP for when you really need him, like maybe to help close out a game, if it's getting tight or whatever. It's really good to see some production from Jarek, so I'm gonna give him my game ball.
Very nice, very
Mhm.
nice. Now, we mentioned Harrison Smith at the beginning of the show. He'd have been an easy one to give a game ball to this week. Mike Harris, dominating performance down in the trenches. I could give him a ball. Why not?
Mhm.
I am going to give it to an absolute freak of nature that I did not think would even make the roster this year, that he'd be on the practice squad. Daniil Hunter.
I
What is
knew it.
going on with this
I
guy?
knew it. This guy is an athletic freak.
Mhm.
Seriously, he went through his college career, did not end up with a great sack total. People were wondering why the Vikings reached for him in the third round. When I did my draft analysis on him for the Viking age, I said that he would be a third round selection because of his physical ability and just his raw talent. And the fact that they were able to take this raw talent that I saw in Daniil Hunter, as well as other people around the league, and the Vikings front office must have as well, but the fact that they could take this player, infuse these concepts in him, let him be athletic around the edge, give breathers to veterans like Brian Robinson, play him in the middle in NASCAR formations, he is becoming one heck of a valuable player.
And this couldn't come at a better time because B-Rob's probably got another season or two starting, and then he's going to be that rotational player. Watch Daniil Hunter come out of the woodworks and be opposite Everson Griffin. That'd be a nightmare for people.
He might have only ended with 3 tackles on the day, but one of those was a sack. He had a nice quarterback hit. One of those tackles was on special teams, where if he didn't make that tackle, who knows what could have happened. And he had a 10-yard kickoff return. Hunter. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Guys, how awesome of a draft did the Vikings have last year? There's like 3 guys that you could say were the steal of the draft. And they're all in Minnesota. Stephon Diggs.
We were just talking about Rick Spielman, too.
Yeah, Daniil Hunter and Eric Kendricks.
Do you remember how after the draft I was talking to you about how I had so many players rated higher than they were actually taken in the draft that the Vikings selected? I had a man crush on Michael Pruitt, and there were other guys as well that I just felt had too much talent to slip to where they did.
It's been a fantastic draft.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
And you can still see the potential. You totally see the potential in Trey Waynes. Like, this kid's going to get it. That's an incredibly tough position. I think the way they're using him is perfectly acceptable. And I have full confidence that they'll get him. But, yeah, this draft is just exciting. Really exciting.
I have no problem with the Vikings being patient with Waynes. I'd let Newman do his thing. Newman's playing some decent football. Newman's not going to be around for a long time. He might even be done after this year. So who knows? Let the young guy learn. He's doing a good job on special teams, and later in the season when they plugged him in, been doing a pretty good job there too. So I'm happy with what I've seen. Sure, I'd love to have him have statistics like the number of interceptions that Marcus Peters has, or the number of pass breakups that Johnson has. These are guys that, yes, they were taken later in the draft, but the Vikings saw something, they want to develop it. Be patient.
Different teams, different circumstances. Like, it's fine. It's okay. We're doing pretty good, guys.
Absolutely. Donkey, Mr. Smith.
Andrew Sendejo. It's really hard to pick a donkey when you have our team score 49 points. We have 3 interceptions, 1 that goes for a pick 6. Eli Manning was just eating grass all night. It was great, just getting knocked around. But I'll tell you why I picked him, and I had to be picky because we had a pretty good game overall by everybody. There was a play, and I don't know if it was a screen. I think it was a screen. But Eli Manning tossed it to, I believe, his running back. He broke through, found a hole, made some tackles. Andrew Sendejo comes out of nowhere. Maybe it's not a screen. Maybe that's another play I'm thinking of. Either way, Eli Manning connected on a pass with someone, and
Ruben
Randall. There we go. See, this is why Adam runs the show. I don't care about any of the Giant players. So I really don't. So Eli Manning connects with a pass, and Andrew Sandeo does such a college move, and it irritated the ever-loving crap out of me. He tries to go up and get a big boom of a hit. Doesn't attempt to strip the ball out. Doesn't even attempt to throw his arms out to a half-assedly attempt to tackle him. He's just going to rely on brute strength to just come over and knock the wind out of this guy. And it does nothing. Terrence Newman had to stop and get out of the way if you watch this play. And here comes the thump of a hit that did nothing. And I believe it resulted in a touchdown. So just I get it. We beat the crap out of the Giants. But if you do this against a team like a Green Bay, a Seattle, if we somehow win in the playoffs when we get there and get to play in Arizona or Carolina, you cannot do that. Points will kill you and send you home. So sorry I had to be picky, but I'm not sorry. Andrew Sandejo.
It's hard because Anderson Dejo did have that pick.
Nice tip from Xavier Rhodes, and it was a great awareness by him, but he only had 3 tackles on the day.
Special teams tackle. But one boneheaded play like that can really change your impression.
I hate giving it to him, but I had to pick someone. So don't do that when we play Green Bay and when we go in the playoffs. Just stick to your fundamentals. I sound like
I'm sure Zimmer had some words for him. Mr. West.
I gotta do it, guys. I gotta do it. NBC producers, come on. That what?
The Hail Mary.
The heck, yes. Why? It's like they don't. Vikings are winning. Well, Jesus, let's just cue up this Hail Mary play from has nothing to do with what's going on. So we'll just go ahead and we'll just show that just to remind everyone of just the awful things that have happened to this team in the past.
Like fans are having too good of a time. Better play.
Yep, and not only that, but they spent an insane amount of time talking about a player that wasn't even playing. They were just ignoring what was going on the field and of course they chose to do that when the Vikings had the ball, by the way. Yeah. Just completely ignore us. And then they're doing this stupid crap where they're highlighting Teddy's throwing motion.
Yep.
And we're talking about Teddy's throwing motion like it's somehow a bad thing.
And he throws a dime to Kyle Rudolph for a touchdown.
Yeah, he throws that dart right in for a touchdown, just right where it needs to be. It's like, yeah, go ahead, highlight that throwing motion. Come on, guys.
I love how Collinsworth had to say, even though he's got that motion, he delivered that one on a rope.
Yeah, like he's springing. Tim Tebow has a bad throwing motion. Teddy is fine. Like, I don't even know. Out of all the time we spent talking about Teddy pre-draft, I don't ever remember throwing motion being a thing that came up.
Nope.
Do you?
No,
guys?
It was the gloves. It was the size.
Right now from his throwing motion in college,
mm-hmm.
which it's gotten a little shorter. It seems every week. Soon he'll be Stafford sidearming it out there, and then I'll be really mad. But
you know what's great too about your donkey this week, Kyle?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like there aren't bigger nerds and more passionate, more knowledgeable Viking fans out there that know we have a primetime game. 9 times out of 10, we poop the bed. Why in the world did you have to do that on the one night where we're actually beating the crap out of somebody?
Well, they gotta talk about something, right?
The NFL hates us, I swear.
Yeah, like I said, and coming to and from like commercials, are they just gonna like start doing Gary Anderson's missed field goal like highlight packages? Like, I mean, I don't know what the deal.
But would you rather see that or the Peter Pan class reunion commercial again?
Jesus, I'd rather see
DraftKings. Let's do DraftKings again. I miss it.
I'll take DraftKings over that Peter Pan commercial.
All right, so it's tough for me because I went for the toss-up in this one, flipped a coin. Heads was Jeff Locke, tails was Marcus Sherrills. I got tails. Marcus Sherrills, you're my donkey.
Tails never fails.
1 punt return for 1 yard. Pretty sweet there. But the reason why he's my donkey isn't even that. The fact that the game got so out of hand that the Vikings actually plugged Marcus Sherrills in at cornerback is unbelievable. This is a guy that hadn't seen action all year at that position as far as I know. I haven't seen him out there doing anything on defense. So when they finally rest everybody, when the game's so out of hand that it's not even close, did they just kind of say, screw it, Marcus, get in there? Because there had to be a point in the season so far that the coaching staff had to completely forget that he was a cornerback.
I think so too. I really don't understand if you're not going to play him at all, what purpose he serves.
Well, the Vikings
On
have
the...
2 specialists on their team for returns right now. Patterson doesn't play offense.
No?
He doesn't. Sherrills doesn't play defense, and they're 2 return men, and both those jobs could be taken by someone else on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Thielen does a good job. Diggs does all right. Between those 2 guys, I'm sure they got it covered. Are those 2 roster spots really that valuable for a guy who had 1 punt return for 1 yard and has to be plugged in on defense when everybody else decides, the game's so out of hand it doesn't matter anymore? Get in there, Sherrills. And I know that there are a lot of fans who locally like Marcus Sherrills, and I always wanted him to take that extra step. There were a couple games last year where I saw some things when he was on defense, and I thought, okay, things are clicking for him. And then this year came out, and I saw nothing from him on defense. They didn't even play him. They didn't even hint that he might be available in there. And with all the problems in the secondary, when they were shifting everyone around, I didn't hear his name once.
Yeah, there was at one point that we re-signed Sean Prater as opposed to playing Marcus Sherrills. Poor guy, because he's a really good guy. And
Absolutely. And
I'm sure...
I'd love to see him in a bigger role if he can step into it and earn it and everything. But why? Just why? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. All right, so we got a game review going on here. We talked about Eli Manning throwing the ball away like nobody's business. 3 interceptions on the day, completing 15 of his 29 passes. Didn't even get half of them together. Yuck.
Mm-hmm.
You know what his QBR was? Not his rating, but his QBR?
7?
0.7.
Oh. That's...
Out of 100, it's 0.7.
Jesus, that's bad.
Teddy's was 67.4. Ryan Nassib had a 99.3 QBR. So
hey, Ryan Nassib.
They were 100.
Ryan Nassib 5 for 5 for a touchdown. QB controversy going into next year.
Yeah, but that was garbage time when Marcus Sherrills was in there. Oh, that's not even fair. I'm sorry, Marcus Sherrills. Teddy Bridgewater only threw the ball 25 times, 15 for 25, 168 as far as yards through the air, threw 1 touchdown. That was that rope, as I said, to Mr. Kyle Rudolph.
Important part, no interceptions. Ball security is really super important. And guess what? Teddy hasn't thrown an interception in a few games now. So I know.
Don't say
right?
it. Don't say it. We have an important game
And it's
Sunday.
not like one of his 4 touchdown performances either. And I say performances like it's plural, but maybe there'll be more. Who knows?
Give him time. It will be.
But the thing that you remember about this game is even though Teddy didn't have multiple touchdowns or anything like that, not a big yardage total, this is a game where he didn't need to.
Mm-hmm.
Jerick McKinnon ran the ball 7 times for 89 yards, averaging 12.7 yards per carry. Adrian Peterson, 22 carries, 104, 4.7 yards per carry. And this is a Giants defense that was highly ranked against the run, bottom of the barrel in pass defense. And Minnesota just flipped the script on them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely just did work.
I really felt like the Vikings offense was starting to really click and come together. And I think you're seeing it from Teddy as well, too. He's making, I want to say, better decisions with the football, because I always felt like he's made good decisions with it. But he seems to be making them quicker, and he's willing to, I don't know, just make bigger throws instead of maybe not necessarily the safer throws.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
It looks you see the confidence coming out
Mhm.
a little bit more.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks coming now. Ever since Arizona, he's come out and he's been willing to take a couple more calculated risks. And he's not hesitating on them like before.
Mhm.
You saw on that Kyle Rudolph touchdown was similar to that play, I believe it was it against the Bears earlier this year, where Teddy Bridgewater tried to look off the safety and the safety had nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
This week, Teddy Bridgewater looks off the safety bites, boom, pull the trigger on it right away. There was no hesitation. When he hesitated in that other game, it was a pick.
You know what's hilarious
Teddy
about this?
Bridgewater.
Did you watch Mike Zimmer's post game after this, Adam?
Yes, I did.
He said the same thing. I watched it this morning on the way to work. The same play in Detroit last year when he had a horrible game against Detroit in Minnesota, and the same thing. He tried to make the safety bite, and he didn't, but he committed to the throw anyways, and he got picked off in the end zone. So pretty funny. But I want to give a shout out real quick if I'm not interrupting your love for Teddy. We were talking about the running backs. Hilarious point of this. If you go on the Vikings app or NFL.com or anything to watch the highlights, when AP breaks it off and you think he's going to take it to the house, I think it was like a 39-yard run. You just see him hit the hole and he's gone. And you can hear Chris Collinsworth ever subtly in the background going, "Oh, geez." It made my week better because he was like, it wasn't the fact that we were doing well or AP was doing AP things. It was just like, really, guys, you're not gonna cover this gap for Adrian Peterson. Yeah, I don't know. I know it's random, but if you guys get a chance to watch the highlights, you'll see what I'm talking about. Adrian, I think it might have been lined up in the eye. He makes a cut to the right, which, by the way, he's having his most success cutting to the right this year. They did analysis on that because they were so bored. Check that out if you can.
You know what? I thought that analysis was really funny because they had it spread out over the years where he runs to.
Yep.
And at the end of it, it was basically like all that data was meaningless because then they were like, but then he's running to this side. Even though the data says he typically runs to the other side all the time. I'm like, so you just wasted our time with a bunch of shit that don't mean
anything. Their point was good, though, because typically running backs don't run behind their left tackle and left guard. Those are typically your stronger pass blocker guys because it's the blind side for the quarterback. And Teddy was finding some success going left this game. Or not Teddy, sorry. Adrian was finding a lot of success going left this game, and it surprised me as well. So I was kind of happy to see that analysis.
I thought it was funny.
One of the first few things they said on there that I actually enjoyed. The most targeted pass catcher this game, I believe, for the first time this season was Mike Wallace.
Oh.
He was targeted 6 times, but he only hauled in 2 of them for 11 yards. So
yeah, it's right up for it. They tried.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and, well, it's football.
Can we put that on a T-shirt?
I will now.
Put Adam's face on the front and then the back. Just have like the smallest, curviest font. That was amazing.
Let's see, what else do we got here? 5 targets for Stephon Diggs, 4 catches for 19 yards. Didn't get a ton of yardage there, but it was that rope, the 28-yard touchdown pass to Kyle Rudolph. That was pretty nice. And then Jarius Wright had 3 catches on 3 targets, 57 yards, and that is why the Vikings made it a priority to keep Jarius Wright in Minnesota.
Teddy made a clutch throw. I thought he was going to get sacked and hurt. And then Jarius Wright's just standing on the edge there waiting for a pass. He came back to Teddy. And you could see he got lit up on another one of those catches. There were only 3 of them, but he got lit up. And I was like, oh. Every time Jarius gets hit, I always get scared. And he just gets up and is like, that's fine. I'm here. I'm going to catch another one.
I give him credit for holding on to that one because it was a hell of a hit that he took.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Chad Greenway led the team in total tackles, followed by Eric Kendricks. We had 2 sacks from Mr. Tom Johnson.
Ooh.
Sebastian Thunderberg, as they call him over on The Fan. Everson Griffin got to hit the quarterback twice. No sacks, though. Had 4 tackles on the day. Edmund Robinson with 5 tackles. Good to see him getting in the action. I mentioned the day that Daniil Hunter had and how impressed I was with him. Terrence Newman, 1 pass defense. Captain Munnerlyn had a pretty solid game as well.
Yeah, he
was
did.
All over the field. All over.
I like seeing that.
Really, really sad that the interception he had didn't go for a pick 6. He was so close.
I like seeing that from Captain. There was a lot of people that earlier this year were talking about how he's a bust and he needs to go, and I've always felt that he's a good player and he does good things for this team, and I think you're seeing it. later in the season how good of a player Captain Munderland really is.
You know what it is? He said last year, he said going in the offseason, I'm playing my football and I didn't do the team thing like
Mm-hmm.
Zimmer wanted me to. Now you can tell that he bought into that, and he's having, which is hilarious. He's stopped being an individual and bought into it, and now he's having a pretty damn good year.
Turns out Mike Zimmer knows what he's talking about.
Well, sometimes it's hard for a tiger to change its stripes.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get so set in who you are and what you're doing, and you got a coach telling you to try doing something a little different, sometimes you just don't.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of heard a little bit of that too from Teddy Bridgewater in his press conference after this game. He said the quarterback's coach, Zimmer's son, was working with him on the motion. He said, but during practice, I used it that way, but once I get out in the game, in the heat of things, I seem to go back to my normal, the way I'm familiar with throwing,
Mm-hmm.
the way that's comfortable for me. And it's weird that we criticize Captain Munderland for doing that sort of same thing, but yet Teddy Bridgewater doesn't get any criticism at all for it.
Fair point. I would say it works for Teddy. Don't mess with Teddy, right? That's my just don't mess with him.
Well, not everybody would agree with that. Not everybody feels like Teddy's having as good of a season as we do.
Yeah.
There are still a lot of critics and cynics out there that say that he has to do more to prove his spot with the team. There's still Vikings fans out there calling for rehashed veteran free agents or trading up for draft pick prospects.
Oh yeah, I've heard the.
Shut up.
We need Peyton
Those guys still
Manning,
exist.
RG3.
He has the same numbers as last year. Yep, and we have 3 more wins with 1 game left to play and a playoff berth. Shut your mouth. Ugh.
It's okay, Mr. Smith.
Oh
right.
man, I'll be okay. I promise. I'm gonna make everybody mad later, anyways. It's fine.
And we already covered all the special teams people, so that's pretty sweet. Don't even gotta talk about that anymore.
My boy Blair with a solid day. Thank you. Thank you for making me give you a game ball. I've been waiting for that.
All right, so next week the Vikings travel to Green Bay, take on the Packers, NFC Division crown, NFC North Division title on the line. A couple different situations that can happen here. There's 3 situations where the Vikings could end up playing a different game against a different team. So let's go over these here.
Okay.
All right, so if the Vikings beat Green Bay, it doesn't matter what happens with any other team in the league. The Minnesota Vikings would host the Seattle Seahawks in the wild card round.
That would be tough.
Okay, if the Minnesota Vikings lose to the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks win, the Green Bay Packers would win the NFC North and they would host the Vikings at Lambeau in the wild card round.
Don't want to do that.
The third one is where the Vikings win and the Seattle Seahawks lose to the Arizona Cardinals. And in that situation, the Vikings would be the number 5 seed and travel to Washington to play the Redskins.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because there are several different situations there that could happen. And it all depends initially on what's going to happen in that 4:25 kickoff game between the Seahawks and the Cardinals. I don't know whether people are going to be rooting for a win or a loss there. I'm guessing that fans will be cheering for Arizona to win because that way if the Vikings win, they have a home field advantage game against the Seahawks. They get to play at home. Or if the Vikings lose, they travel to Washington and they get to avoid Green Bay in the first round. I don't know how fans are looking at this because Green Bay is struggling right now. Washington's on fire. There's so many different things that could happen. But it's good to be talking about the playoffs now. The Vikings secured their spot in the playoffs with a win over the Giants. They could have gotten in 2 other ways earlier in the week, relying on other teams to get the work done, and they couldn't. So the Vikings took it on their own, got the win. They're in the playoffs, and now they're just wondering where they're going to be and who they're going to play.
What if there is a tie? What if the stadium catches on fire? What if it gets hit by an asteroid?
I eliminated all tie situations because, let's be honest, what was the last Vikings tie? It was against Green Bay, 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
With Ponder, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was 2 years ago. Matt Castle. It was our 5-10-1 season, and it was against Green Bay.
Yeah.
No, it
Yeah.
wasn't against Green Bay. It was against. I thought it was against Chicago. Either way, it's been a
It was an
while,
NFC
and
North team.
it was an NFC North team, and it hasn't happened in a long time. Not just for the Vikings. I don't think they've had a tie this year in the NFL. So we'll
No.
leave it at that. Knock on wood, that won't happen again.
Here is how I am going to just be looking at Sunday. Whatever happens with all the other teams, I'm really not concerned about. I'm not going to root for this team or that team for a certain scenario. I don't care. Whatever happens, happens. Minnesota beat Green Bay. All I want to see. That's all I want to see. Just go beat
I gotta
Green
admit,
Bay.
there's a side of me that wants to see Arizona win, so that it's down to either hosting Seattle or traveling to Washington.
Hmm.
I will be kind of watching that. I'll admit that.
I'll be driving back from North Carolina. I'm going to go see my family again, and I'm definitely, like you said, I'm definitely watching that Arizona game on the way back in my car. I'm definitely going to have that playing over the speakers because Seattle's a team that could go home and get thumped by the Rams like that, and they are the team that'll go into Arizona and just put a hurting on Arizona because
Hmm.
that's just what the Seahawks do. So that'd be a good game.
Minnesota pushed Arizona to the limits, but got absolutely decimated by Seattle. So there's so many situations here that are tough. Minnesota having a good season at home, maybe. And personally, this is just a personal note of mine. I want that NFC North banner for 2015 hanging in US Bank Stadium when it opens. I want that.
Hmm. I agree,
That's
Adam.
that's greedy. That's me. I know a lot of fans are hoping for an easy road to the playoffs. I'm not one of those. But to each their own. That's what we're saying.
It's a fantastic discussion to be having. Of course, every road is going to be difficult and hard. It's the playoffs. It's the NFL. But this is
These
what
are the
it's
best teams in the league.
this is what it's about. This is what it's about, guys. We're not talking about draft picks and oh, if we lose,
Playoffs.
yeah,
We're talking about
we're talking about
playoffs.
playoffs. Yeah,
Once you're in, you've got a shot.
it's sad, but it's kind of a rare thing that we get to do playoff shows here on the podcast.
Lots of fun. Lots of fun.
Yeah, so I will be really looking forward to doing hopefully more than one playoff show.
It would be great.
Hmm.
Social media question of the week. I asked you guys to send in some photos or let me know over the holidays what kind of great gifts you guys got, and we got almost nothing as a response. We got Corbin Johnson, who said he got some Vikings clothes. Eric Spink sent in a picture of himself with a Vikings Santa hat on, holding up a shirt saying, "This team makes me drink." Purple and gold shirt. And I don't blame him. I mean, in the past, whew, I mean, maybe there was a reason I was an alcoholic back in the day.
Hey, NBC reminded us on the highlights. They got us covered on that one.
That's true. And of course, I posted up the Grape Crush gummy soda bottles that I got from my mom. So
Mhm.
actually, I think my sister got me those. Yeah, that was my sister. And funny story, that's Grape Crush though. After the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, and if you don't remember that, give it a Google.
You know what? I'm gonna say something, and I hate it because, God, I despise him with everything that I have because he's so good. But I watched recently a video. If you guys just want Gee Whiz fun football stuff, the guys from Dude Perfect to do all those crazy basketball shots. Aaron Rodgers was on there making the most insane throws, and his accuracy is so good, it's disgusting. But I thought when he did the Grape Crush thing for Minnesota, it's like, hey, we crushed the purple, we crushed Minnesota. He actually said, they said, if you guys want to know, if
That's
you
actually
have,
his favorite drink.
it is. They said, if you want to stop at a gas station, what's your go-to snack? He's like, probably the Reese's peanut butter cup and a Grape Crush. So I don't think he was taking a shot at us. I just think he's such a smug douchebag that we thought he was. So I hate him so much because he's so good.
Well, after a
But yeah.
loss, nobody takes anything well.
Oh my gosh. So that was one of the most anger filled days for me, that day when he brought that out there during that interview. Woo.
The old Grape Crush situation. We did not think up a social media question for this week, so
Oh my gosh, let's do it for me, and I'll steal it now. For my bold statement, it'll be a bold question as well. I'm
all right.
totally okay with that. So we talked earlier about scenarios for the playoffs, and I'm probably going to piss off a lot of you people, and that's okay because that means you'll talk about it. I want the Minnesota Vikings to lose Sunday to the Green Bay Packers.
What?
I know. I never thought I'd say that. And you know what's
I
crazy?
knew you were still a Packer fan.
I knew one of you were going to say that. So if you guys got to watch, like I said, I'm traveling for the holidays, and I got to see my family. We're from Charlotte originally, and on the way back, I was trying to get home so I can actually sit down and watch the Viking game. I watched that Arizona game out of my peripherals on the road. They beat the crap out of Aaron Rodgers, and I think if you have a game plan, it's go do that. He was sacked 9 freaking times, and a couple of their linemen are injured. They got banged up in this game. If there was ever a shot where I wanted us to lose, now's a good time where we have a legitimate chance to win and kick them while they're down, of course. And it would be in Lambeau. Such a sweet, sweet day. Last time we did that with Brett Favre. Pretty cool. But here's my reasoning on this. I totally understand, and I almost agree with both of you. Well, let's get an NFC North banner and let's hang it up. That would be pretty sweet. Being a division champ is a big deal. However, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that if we beat them week 17 and we have to play them in some weird fashion the next week, they will beat us. They game plan very, very well against us, and it's not that hard. It's another reason why I don't want to play Seattle either. Stop Adrian and pressure Teddy, and you will beat the Vikings. Do both of those well all game, and you will beat us. Denver did it. Arizona did it. Seattle did it best of any team this year. They thumped us. So why on earth would I say that I want us to lose to the Packers? Because that is a one-shot ticket on the road to the Washington Redskins. And you know what I don't believe in? I don't believe in Kirk Cousins, and I don't believe in the Washington Redskins. I went over their schedule today hard. Any team above 500 beat the crap out of them.
It's true.
I believe at the time too. One of their losses was to the Bears. I believe. I'm not sure about that. The Bears, for God's sake, we swept them. This is a team that plays in a horrible division. Yes, they have 8 wins. They could win 9 come Sunday. They have played no one of merit. And I hate to say this, but this is what people have been saying about the Vikings all year. When are you going to beat a team that's worth a crap? Let us get in the playoffs and let us duke it out with Washington. I put 9 times out of 10, we go into Washington and we thump them. And you know what? I'm sorry if that makes you guys mad, and I'm done with my statement because I've been rambling. I know an NFC North title would be sweet, but it would be such a piece of crap if we had beaten Green Bay to win the division and then they beat us in the playoffs. Or you get embarrassed by Seattle again. I know I'm taking the route out of, I don't want to play the hard teams just yet. But if you can go in the postseason and win a game, oh my God, we haven't done that in like 7 years. Or 6 years, whenever 09 season with Favre. Sorry, my math's off. But to me personally, I want to win a playoff game. I know it would be against probably the suckiest NFC opponent, but whatever, man. And it would be on the road. That's a statement. I know people aren't going to agree with that, but I want to see us win a playoff game.
You'd be
to
surprised.
Be fair, the Vikings, I don't believe, have won an NFC title since 2009 either. So
You'd be surprised on some of the forums that I frequent as to how many people are actually going to agree with you on that statement.
I know
it's
the last time
fairly popular opinion that,
but it's polarizing.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy part is, we still have a week left to play, and there are 3, not 2, 3 scenarios that could roll out. It's nuts. That's how crazy the NFL is this year. Mm-hmm. But I remember the last time. I know Christian Ponder got hurt. I know he played the game of his freaking life. I don't know why he couldn't have done that forever, but we had a good game plan. We went shot for shot. It was a shootout game. We beat them on a field goal as time expired. Cool. It was a happy, good story. The next freaking week, it was a completely different team and a completely different ball game. I don't want to see that. It would take away from winning the division for me if we beat them week 17 and have to play them the next week in the playoffs and they beat us. It's like, well, how did we win it in the first place?
Then you would have to listen to all the stupid smug Packer fans.
Oh my God,
which
that's
would
the least of my worry.
Yeah.
That or we've been hyped all year. We beat Green Bay and then we host Seattle, and then Seattle round 2 happens. That was the worst game of the year. That was worse than the San Francisco game for me. Watching Teddy get beat up like that, oh, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out a scenario where we win, and that seems like the best scenario for me. But what do you guys think? I'm going to throw that on there right now when we get off here.
Mr. Smith wants to play the Giants. I want that banner. I don't know if we've heard from Mr. West what he wants. I think he's going to go with the flow and beat whoever gets put in front of us, what it sounds like.
I actually want some Perkins, like one of those big omelets with like everything inside of it, because that sounds really...
I just made myself an omelet a little bit ago. Oh, yeah.
I know, that sounds delicious right now, don't it? A cheese omelet, right?
It is.
Yeah. I'm going to go the route of just beat the Mike Zimmer approach, honestly. Just whoever the next opponent is, just beat him. Like, I think it's important for us to focus on beating the Green Bay Packers, and I totally understand your point of view that you made there, Kyle Smith, on playing them back-to-back weeks if that was to happen, because I don't necessarily know if that's going to be a good thing or not, but at the same time, I do believe in this coaching staff. And I believe in this team, too. And I think they're playing their best football at the most opportune time of year. So I really just want to take the approach of whoever's next. And whoever it is, I think they can game plan and they can give them a run for their money.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd take that third scenario and want to go play Seattle, so.
I don't think anybody wants to play Seattle.
I want omelets. That's what I want.
We did miss one quick hit, though, and I wanted to touch on that before we signed off. Teddy Bridgewater became the first Vikings quarterback since Brett Favre to throw for over 3,000 yards in a season.
I thought... Okay,
wow.
Cool, that's awesome.
That's
He's
crazy.
currently at 3,132 yards, 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
You know what?
That's pretty crazy.
You know what I really want, and I'm sure this will happen at some point. Like, odds are it's gonna happen eventually. But wouldn't it be really nice for the very first play of a game for Teddy to throw a pass, and it don't even have to be a long pass, and then for it to just go like 88 yards or something for a touchdown?
You say that, and it could very well happen.
Yeah.
Come Sunday.
And like, I'm not talking about like just a big long bomb Hail Mary pass wide open.
Now, when you say 88 yards, you mean to a Vikings receiver, not a defender, right?
To a Vikings receiver, like just a huge.
You don't want him to Donovan McNabb this one, right?
No,
oh,
don't.
Sweet
do
Lord.
not McNabb it.
But I don't know what it is, but I'm obsessed with this statistic, with Teddy Bridgewater going over 3,000 yards and passing in a season, the first since Favre, because we had McNabb, Castle, Ponder, T-Jack, all these guys, and they couldn't get it done. They just couldn't.
I don't keep track of other quarterback stats too much, but on average, someone like a Drew Brees, does anyone know like what he throws for?
Drew Brees has went, I think, so many consecutive seasons with 4,000 yards. That's why I said.
But those are pass first. Those are pass first teams. We're a run based.
No,